ones?
I'm about tired. I'm
I
about tired.
don't want to talk about Diddy no more.
I'm tired of Diddy. And now did y'all see the one where they said that they don't think that the actual Diddy was arrested, that there's a doppelganger of Diddy because the mole is gone? I was just like, oh, Lord.
That's why he was so present out there. He was like, come get me. It's my doppelganger.
Exactly.
Diddy, listen, Diddy's been arrested before, and they do take your
Diddy's with Elvis.
No, they take
He's
your
with Tupac.
when they book you.
They working on a new album.
And Diddy's been arrested before, so they have
exactly. People don't recognize they use different
rock.
They use different mugshots.
They altered the doppelganger's fingerprints.
They have they was fingerprints.
Ready. It's AI.
AI fingerprints.
He is with Elvis.
Black people.
Why gotta be Elvis though?
Because Jailhouse Rock.
Jailhouse Rock.
Because we like the white people won't let Elvis go, and we won't let Tupac go,
or Biggie. She just had to boo. I wouldn't have thought of Elvis.
Remember that for years they kept thinking Elvis was still alive?
Yes. And I think Joe was probably one of those people spearheading it.
Elvis and Tupac are somewhere living it up.
Stupid. Okay, are we ready?
We ready, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Hi, and welcome back to Date with the Divas. Thank you for clicking on our video. Since we know you're going to enjoy this video, you might as well click on that subscribe button if you haven't already. While you're at it, like this video and hit on that notification bell because you know you're going to want to watch our videos again and again and again. Anyway, so Entourage, you know what we do. We grab the drink. Let the shenanigans begin, Ms. Lava.
And you know there's going to be shenanigans when I'm hosting. Because you know what? I never got it together. And I think that's the fun part of not having it together. So, in light of that, we're going to start. I wanted to discuss Keke Shepherd. So, about a month ago.
What's the last name?
Why is it Keke Shepherd? Oh my God.
Keke Shepherd is a
Shepherd. Keke Shepherd. Oh, damn, I messed up. Keke Shepherd wasn't she like somebody's host?
No.
Like the black girl that used to
Sherry Shepherd.
No. That's Sherry Shepherd.
No, she was like Keke Shepherd.
Oh, yeah.
She wanted like the
Apollo, right?
Yes, that's what it was. She was like the host. Yeah. Oh, dang. I'm bringing it back.
Bringing it way.
The shenanigans begin with. I am so messed up, but you know what? We had a laugh. So Keke Palmer. So we're gonna start this over again. So again, the shenanigans begin with me. We're gonna talk about Keke Palmer. So about a month or two ago, we discussed Keke Palmer and her love life and the fact that she had broken up with her baby daddy. I think his name is Darius Jackson. Yeah. And like we discussed, like she was in the midst of like baby daddy drama, TPO, restraining order. There was video footage of like him throwing her down the steps and all type. TPO, restraining order.
You said TPO.
Temporary restraining order.
Temporary protective order.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Sorry like that. Temporary protective order. So again, on Date with the Divas, we always learn something new. So the word of the day is TPO.
Those are 3 words.
TPO. Temporary protective order.
Say that again, Audrey.
TPO. 3 words.
But it's not, well, it's the word. It's you know what I mean. Why you gotta be whatever?
We're learning.
We're learning. Whether it be a combination of words, it's a phrase. Phrase of the day. Here we go. There we go. Phrase of the day. TPO. Temporary protective order. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is there a difference between a temporary protective order and a temporary restraining order?
Well, one is a restraining order, and a restraining order, there is no temporary. Well, they do have temporary restraining orders, but they're basically the same. They're both temporary orders that actually protect a victim from having contact with another party based on evidentiary.
So same thing.
Exactly, for the most part.
Okay.
So video footage of this throwing down the stairs. And then I think we talked about this whole birthday party and co-parenting, and she had this lovey-dovey picture. So in the midst of all of this baby daddy love, hate, or whatever, here she comes with this song with Keke Palmer and D Storm. And I think it's called What Girls Want to Know.
Oh, I saw that.
And so what it is
it was cute.
It was cute. I thought it was cute. Very short.
I'm gonna look for it on one of these.
It's cute. I think it's because I follow Marnita that it popped up on my feed.
So basically, it is
follow people entourage. You know stuff.
I think you had liked it, Marnita.
Probably because Lava sent it for us to.
I did too. Shoot.
I saw it a while ago. I liked it. I thought it was just interesting.
I thought it was very interesting.
It was very interesting, and it's short. It's I think roughly about 2.5 minutes. And basically, the scenario is a guy and a girl, at a restaurant having whatever meal it is, a date, and them asking each other questions. Basically, what a girl wants to know and what a guy wants to know, and then you have, in the background, like sort of like your friends kind of cheering you on, like the girl crowd and the male crowd talking about, yeah, like we want to know this. So what it starts off as is just like, how was your day? But then it goes, bam, let's talk about what you really want to know. And then it goes into like, what's in your bank account? What's your body count? So it starts off like that. So it's like this back and forth banter between the male and the female, basically asking questions, which I really appreciated because it wasn't gender. It was gender related, but it's both the questions that both a male and a female would ask each other. So like I said, you have what's in your bank account,
Or
what's your body
ask
count,
each other, what you thinking, what you want to
what you don't want to necessarily know. And I think that most people want this transparency, but don't have the courage to ask those questions, nor the courage to be like, yeah, whatever, my body count is XYZ. But then at the same token, why do you need to know my body count? So, it's the banter of back and forth of questions. So
of the sexes.
Right. I actually took it differently than you did. I took it the banter, but I think it was the questions that you want to know maybe up front when you're first getting to know somebody versus waiting to month 2. Like, let me not waste this time. Let me know this now so I can make a decision if I want to go further.
What I want to continue.
Yeah, that's how I took it too.
And that's exactly what I mean. So then another question was like, are you going to be able to pay my mortgage and all of my other bills? And then he goes, are you going to cook my dinner and all my other meals? Then he goes on to say
feminine energy.
Exactly. And then it goes on, you a man at 100? Are we talking 50-50? And then he goes, are you staying at 130? Or are you going to gain 50? And then here we go. The waiter comes in. He goes, wait a second. That's body shaming, right? So you have the waiter that comes in and kind of like joins in. And then it goes on to things like acting like beauty isn't a thing. And that if I was ugly, you wouldn't be talking about me. And then it goes on to be like, okay, well, I like beauty, but y'all are hiding behind your makeup. And I dated an ugly girl because all she had was makeup. And I didn't realize like she was ugly. Then she's like, wait, is makeup a problem? He was like, no, don't worry about it. You fine. And then she goes on to say, but why you got that hat on to cover your hairline? So it was like, keep going back and forth. And then all of a sudden she goes, one more question. And it ends with, how big is your... So it was cute. It was really cute. But I wanted to know your thoughts on not only, the video as well as like, being on a date with somebody and wanting to know up front, like, what are the expectations? And can you be that transparent, when asking the questions and answering those questions?
No. Yeah, I think that they are covering like things most people want to know. These are things that people are openly talking about on the internet, but they're not necessarily talking to each other about them. But first impressions are first impressions. So me personally, one, I don't want to come off too strong. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna ask all of these questions. Also, I know they can lie. If I do sit up here and ask all these questions, you can be like, yeah, no, girl, I'm gonna pay 100% of your bills and I'm gonna this and that. And we can find out that it's not true later. So no. And then also it's like, there might be things about me that might turn you off if you don't get to know me beforehand. So I'm not gonna be dishonest. But I'm not gonna be sit there and be like, yo, here's body count, here's this and that, here's all I've gone through and all of that.
I'm gonna just say from my perspective, since I just entered back into the dating world, I ask a lot of questions. I mean, not on the first date or any of that, but I'm like, at this point in time, we don't got time to waste. I mean, I'm not here trying to, spend all this time. Now, I'm not asking body count because I think, and if somebody asks me that, I'm gonna like, does it even matter? I can say 4. Like I said, it's like one of those things. It's like some questions is like respectfully decline not to discuss that this time or disclose it maybe when we get to know each other better. But there are questions that I ask that actually, ironically, I asked somebody, and we have been talking for a few weeks or whatever, and I just asked them just generally, do you know what a 401k was? Just curious, because there's people who don't. And then and he was stunned because he had never had that, and I says, I don't want to know if you have one, but I want to understand what's your thought process, because that tells me like, what do you think about retirement and that process? And he goes, actually, it was a very good question that he had never thought about, and he gave me props for it. He goes, you're probably the first woman who's ever asked me that, just in curious. And he goes, and just depending on where your age is and what you're thinking. So I think it's fair game to ask the questions you want to know. Either going to answer it or not. Like you said, you've got to cipher through if they're lying, keep it in the back of your mind, and kind of watch their actions too later.
And also, although you're probably not necessarily asking all those questions that was going on in the video. It was just because I get it, it's for entertainment purposes. They will come across, I guess, during the time of the relationship or whatever, but those are those hard questions sometimes that people want to gloss over, and then you're killing it, you're upset at the end of the day.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Exactly, because you didn't ask those questions. So, sometimes the hard questions have to be asked. Not sometimes, all the time, because there's more to
get into a relationship.
So question, do you ask these questions at the very beginning? Do you have like a repertoire of things that you ask, or do you build up to those things?
I build up to it, and you just go with the flow. I mean, you kind of go with the flow and how the conversations go. I mean, with the person, each conversation or each person you're dating, it may not necessarily flow where you're talking at that level. And then you may have a conversation where you guys just hit it off and you're like, I mean, it seems like you guys have told your life story and it seems like you only know each other a month. I think you have to read the room and read kind of how it flows, at least from my perspective.
Because if you don't, it's going to seem like a job interview, and that's just going to turn it all the way down.
Your bullshit meter has to be on too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when I was much younger, I did
You actually, Michelle, you acting like you 80 years old.
No, I'm just
much
okay.
younger.
No, I was much younger, and I had a crush on my girlfriend's cousin who was older than us. And he basically said, look, I like you, I find you attractive, but I have to date someone who is sexually compatible with me. So going into the relationship, I know you're going to have sex with me early on. And I was like, okay, sorry, pass, whatever. But I was taken aback by it because, one, I was young, but looking back, I was actually glad that he did that, because I didn't waste any time with him, and he didn't waste any time with me, because it was like, oh yeah, I find you attractive, but I'm not going to sleep with you
just because. I get you.
Like right off the bat, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Some of it helps you to right off the back know, okay, well, this is not for me, and I saved myself. I got my Starbucks and I'm good.
That's exactly it. And I think, like, sometimes those conversations can be just like you say, you want them to flow naturally,
Yeah.
but sometimes they can lead into deeper conversations. So, like, you're asking someone a random question about, I don't know, oranges, or how about pineapple strawberry lemonade? Anyway.
Well,
And
I
so
agree
refer
that
to
you
last
have
week's
to
video.
let chemistry flow.
exactly.
On
But
a first date, I think should be about establishing a rapport,
most definitely.
chemistry. Do we like each other? Do we make each other laugh? Do I feel comfortable in your presence? I don't really feel like a great first date is a job interview.
I
Yeah,
agree.
no, I agree. I agree.
However, you do need to establish, that you have a healthy income. So that I do need to figure out on the first date if we're going to move forward. So, I mean, everybody has their hard
Right.
boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and their non-negotiables. And that, for me, if I'm being honest, at my age, at this stage of my life, I know that's one. So yeah, on a first date, I will try to
How do you
get
do that? What questions are you asked? I'm curious. Just
So
I
you're
want to know where are we located? What are we ordering? How is the money flowing? Do you feel comfortable with that? What do you do for a living? What's your lifestyle like? That's something you can kind of make conversational.
Yeah, that's
what's
usually the
get you.
first date conversation anyway.
Okay.
don't go into
Most
the
definitely.
politics and religion. I had one of those, and I was like, well, I guess you helped me figure out I don't want to date you, because that was the first
Right.
date conversation. I was like, oh, this is really deep, and you're kind of far left. But I was like, thank you for not wasting my time, but I wasn't expecting to go that deep, like political topics and religion topics on the first date. I thought, like you said, that light, fluffy, get to know each other, see if there's chemistry.
Like, are we attracted to each
Right.
other? If we're not attracted, what's the point? It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Look, even if I was attracted, it went left with the politics.
I
No longer
will,
attracted.
see, are you picking up this check and how much are you tipping? And I am paying attention to those.
So, Antrese, are you do you have that conversation going in, like, hey, we're going to this restaurant, are you picking up the check, or do you just wait and see?
I've never asked a man if he was picking up a check ever.
If he invites me, I expect him to pick it up.
I assume if you ask me on a date that you are.
Me
Right.
too.
but I will say that I had a gentleman ask me out, and he wanted me to pick the place. Like, he wanted, again, this is nothing, he would ask me to pick the place. But then when we got on the date, he basically confessed to me he wanted me to pick the place, because from that point he could gauge, like, my meter in terms of where I wouldn't go and where he could take me, because he was like, I knew, and then this threw me off. He was like, well, I knew I couldn't take you to such and such because, it smells like weed, because, you clearly want a little bit more class. So I had to be like, oh, okay, she want to go here. And that was right there. I was like,
that would have been like,
sounds broke.
Right.
Like you guys weren't going to Sizzler.
Thank you, but no thank you. I'm beyond chicken wings. I'm not saying that I'm a steak and lobster person, but I do want a regular meal that may start off with a light salad.
And you want a 5-course meal? Lava, you want a 5-course meal and a lava cake when you're done?
And some libations.
She wants appetizer, nice drink.
But then
like,
are
you ordering apps? Are you asking me if I want a second drink? Like,
and that's those things or whatever.
Attention to the man, ladies. Like, is he like trying to spoil you?
Love it.
I was just like,
Keke Shepherd, enter.
Oh,
here we go, Keke Shepherd.
Getting back
Marilyn,
to
what was you gonna say?
though, I think the first date should be about energy. Like, do I feel safe in your presence? Do I feel comfortable with you? Do you make me laugh? Do I feel good being around you?
Yeah.
But what I will say is, I think all those questions need to be answered on both ends.
Yeah.
But
at some given point in time.
But give yourselves time to get to know each other before
Most
you
definitely.
dive in and give all of yourself. Like, if those are the things you want to know, give yourself time to figure that out before you go all in. And I think that's the step
definitely
missed. You know, they
But
go all
also
in.
be prepared that if those are the questions that you want to ask, be prepared to answer them too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people want to ask the questions, but then they trying to like,
And deflect. Yeah.
and it very much so deflect.
That takes time, don't you think, to get to know? Like, if you want to know my body count, we got to be hanging out for a few months before you're going to ask me something like that. You know what I mean?
I don't think you ever gonna know my body
So
count.
then don't expect us to be having sex before that, if that's important to you. Like, wait to get to know me till I feel comfortable enough in your presence to have that conversation. But I think a
Most
lot
definitely.
of people put the sex before, they put the
Yes.
feeling before getting answers to those questions.
You're right, right. Yeah. You gotta do your research. I mean, some of us, you put more time in choosing your outfit, you put more time in selecting a pair of shoes than you do selecting your man. Come on now.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Getting ready for a job interview. You'll spend, weeks researching and getting prepared for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
You'll sleep
you
with a
think
man on the third date.
so? Like at the first date, so you have this first date and everything's going like really well, right? And you're like, okay, I'll just, and I don't want to say, attractive. You see, some sort of vibes or whatever the case may have you. So now you go down to, now it's the end of the date and you determine like whether or not you want to kiss this person and whether it's just going to be or is it going to be
What is?
I gotta think about it. If I ever kiss somebody on the first date like that, I kind of give a hug, even though there's chemistry. I think I need to go. I don't know if it's the first date I'm doing any of that. Or have done.
I've kissed.
I think it just kind of depends on how you know,
the vibe.
Yeah, the
most
vibe.
definitely. I would say like this. I'm all about Usher's good kisser. And I need to know whether or not you can kiss. Because that's for me, that's like one of the, things. So, but I already know, like, if I ain't feeling you, best believe you're lucky if you get the church hug.
No, it's the
your
side
booty's
hug.
all the way back here.
Thank
No,
you.
the side hug, that side in your body. Yeah,
thank you. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But okay, fine. You feeling him a
Your
little
booty's
bit
down the block.
And then you feeling him, but then you're like, okay, he got a nice little lips going on. You're like, okay, let me see what's going on. And then if I feel spit coming on the side of my mouth, I'm just like, okay, wait a second. But I need to know. To me, I think kissing is a very but again, you have to know whether or not you want to do it, because there are times I'm like, it's not happening.
I agree with you, Antrice. It's the vibe that
it's the vibe,
and I mean,
there's nothing wrong with a little kiss,
Most definitely.
I think, a lot of that too. I think all of that, when that's what Antrice mentioned with the chemistry and all of that. While the conversation is happening, I think all of that is happening at the same time. You start to get that feel of like, oh dang, did he just touch my hand, or or
oh dang, did he just touch me?
Exactly. Or dang, it's all sweaty, or like.
I get you. It's all about how you feel. It's all about the chemistry, and whether you want to return for a second date to continue on asking those questions. So, but I think Keke's video was a good. It was cute. I thought it was very, very cute. Nice little banter.
It was all the stuff that we want to know.
Yeah. And it wasn't ratchet.
It wasn't disrespectful. Neither was disrespectful, which
exactly. Exactly. And I liked that, and I think her last question about, his private part, it shocked everybody.
But we do want to know.
We do want to know. But you know what? There's ways of finding out without asking the questions.
That's next. That's the next episode. That's the next episode.
That's a whole nother topic.
That little kiss can be revealing.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Artrice. Thank you very much, Artrice.
But it was cute too with the in my words, the symbolism that they had, the guys in the back of him, the girls behind,
Exactly.
and even the symbolism of the waiter coming,
Waiter.
with his quirks.
Exactly. So any other thoughts before we call it a night, and I can, finish off my lemonade-ish libation.
You loving that word, lemonade, that cool, refreshing
drink. But this time I added guava.
I was like, do you remember?
Exactly.
Cherry guava. I added some cherry guava.
Cherry guava for lava.
I always got to keep it spicy. So, entourage, here we go. We are at that time where I'm so glad we had this time together, but it must come to an end.
Okay, Carol. At least for now.
For now. So drop down any comments that you may have. Subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Deuces.